Okay, so hope my screen is visible to everyone. And today we're gonna start with the steady state thermal analysis and transient thermal analysis. Okay, so ideally this session is completely for a thermal analysis. So we're gonna see both analysis, like what is steady state, and once we completed with that part, and we'll move on to the what is transient steady state. I mean transient thermal analysis. Okay, already you know about these things like what is steady state and transient because we discussed it this term like static and then transient part and structural. So the exact same meaning is also followed up in the thermal analysis also. Okay. So when we talk about the steady state thermal analysis, the thermal load cannot varies with respect to time. So the only thing different here is in structural we apply the load as a force. Okay. So in thermal analysis we apply the load. I mean thermal load in terms of temperature or heat flux anything. Okay. So that is related to thermal related stuffs. Okay. And if I say it's a transient thermal analysis, the temperature input data is changes with respect to the time. So most of the scenarios, the problem seems to be an transient thermal analysis, but ideally we're also having an analysis called steady state thermal analysis. So in steady state thermal, you can use a steady state thermal analysis to determine the temperature and thermal gradient. Once again, so the thermal gradient means the difference between the things like from the component to the ambient air temperature. So that difference we call it as a thermal gradient. And heat flow rate and heat flux in an object. And hope you all know about these terms like what is heat flow rate and then heat flux and caused by the external thermal load that do not varies with respect to time. This is very important. This term like the thermal load we applied over here is do not varies over the time. Okay, so our steady state thermal analysis calculate the effect of steady state thermal loads of a system component. So the engineers often perform a steady state analysis before performing a transient structure analysis. It is always recommended, so don't go for transient directly. First try to do the analysis with steady state, and if you are not satisfied with the results or you don't get the results you actually planned for, you can move on to the transient because transient will always take a larger amount of time to get solve the problem. Okay, so this is all about a small introduction to a steady state thermal analysis. Not only a steady state, it's like a thermal analysis. Okay, so for thermal analysis, you need some basic theoretical understanding, like what is a mode of heat transfer. So you need the help of HMT. I think you're all having this subject. So heat and mass transfer. So in that, you'll have a lot of theoretical backgrounds which is related to the thermal analysis. Okay, so exactly you need that stuff. I'll show you, I'll just remind you some of the points you already studied in your engineering. That is, what is the mode of heat transfer? So the heat transfer can be happened in three ways. That is conduction. The next one is convection and radiation. Okay. So we know that in conduction, it is only happened in between a one body, single body. Okay. So suppose if you take, we have a rod. So when you try to, heat up this rod, it's like a copper rod. What happened here is the heat is always transferred from the hot end to the cold end. So molecular to molecular, the heat energy is get transferred. So it happens within a body. So that is why we call it as this is conduction. Okay. So when we talk about convection, so the best example for the convection is like if you have a cup of tea just placed in a room in ambient temperature. So the room having a temperature of 32 degrees Celsius, probably the coffee is having around 60 to 70 degree of Celsius. So what happened here is this heat is transferred to the ambient temperature constantly with respect to the over the time the heat is reduced. What happened here is the heat is actually transferred, convected to the ambient air. Okay, so the heat transfer has happened between a two different phases, from the liquid phase to the gas phase, or a solid phase to a liquid phase, solid phase to a air phase. It's up to you. So this is all we call it as a convection. Okay, what we say it as a radiation. What is radiation? So The best example for the radiation is the sun. So we don't actually need any medium to get transfer the heat, because any other stuff, when you talk about the, what we say, conduction or convection, you always need some sort of medium. So without any medium, the convection and conduction may not happen. Okay, but for radiation there is no medium is needed. Like, why is it like this? In I mean, from the solar system, we have sun. So from the sun we get the energy, right? The heat is transferred from the sun to the and reaches the earth. So along the path in the space we don't have any medium, so it's completely vacuum, even though the heat is transferred in terms of radiation. So the radiation is like h nu. It's like a, the E is denoted in the term of h nu. So we call it as a discretized pack of energy. It's This theorem is comes from the Planck's theorem. I mean, it's Planck law of theory. And for radiation, probably you studied about what is black body and white body, what is epsilon value. For convection and conduction, we have a Fourier series of conduction and convection. We have some theorems. So we should be a little bit knowledge regarding that stuff. So that will be helpful in your analysis also, because when you try to include a convection in ANSYS Workbench, it asks you for a film coefficient. So if you don't even know about like what is film coefficient, there won't be any point here, because that is why I always insist that just be concentrate on the theoretical part, so that will be helpful in your entire analysis. Okay, that's good. And hope you'll have a small regarding idea I mean, how the heat is actually transferred. Okay, so I'll close this stuff. And the points to remember is, a steady state thermal analysis may be a linear analysis, either linear with a constant material properties or non-linear with material properties that depends upon the temperature. So usually we don't include this part because all the material properties just get changed over the temperature. Okay, so the component temperature will be a different one at 100 degrees Celsius. If I increase another 100 degree, maybe it behaves differently in 200 degrees Celsius. It's natural. Okay, so whether you want to include that effect, if you include that thing, then your analysis is a non-linear one. So if you don't consider that effects, your analysis will be considered as a linear one. So including radiation effects or temperature dependent convection, a coefficient makes your analysis non-linear. So this is an added point. Okay. And so this is the problem statement we're going to solve today. So perform a steady state thermal analysis on a fan blade. Okay, so they said that the material should be structural steel, and we need to apply some temperature input and define the convection. Because at the surround we have some sort of air, so the heat is dissipated to the air. So I want to calculate that stuff also, and the temperature distribution and in a heat flux. Okay, this is what I want to calculate also. Okay, so I have this file. I'll just go to my Google Classroom. Okay. Instead of doing the analysis on a 3D fan, I'm gonna use this thing like heatsink. For the boundary condition, I have the boundary condition here. So this is what my boundary condition means. So I'm gonna apply uh, thermal analysis. Okay, 1 second, I'll zoom it. So this is my component. So I'll just download it. Okay. So my boundary condition is, so they said that you have to apply the temperature that is 230 degrees Celsius at the bottom. So basically we use the heat sink to dissipate the heat. So if you take any component like a computers or anything, so in the processor, it produces an enormous amount of heat energy. So you have to dissipate that thing. Otherwise it spoils your entire system. Okay, so we know that stuff. So in such situation, we use the fins and then heat sink. So it is made up of aluminum or a highly conductive material. So it actually dissipates the heat. So that is why we use the stuff. And I'll just open ANSYS Workbench. So the more accurate way to do the thermal related stuff is CFD analysis. Okay, but you can also do the thermal analysis on what we say ANSYS Workbench also. That's not an issue. Okay, so first I'll just drag and drop the steady state thermal analysis over here. And if you want to add any material, just double tap on the engineering data. So here we have the structural steel. So other than that, if you want to any other material right now, I don't want to use a structural steel. I'm going to use aluminum from more heat transfer. Go with the general material. So at the bottom, I'll have a list of materials. Maybe if I want to choose aluminum, just go and search for it. See, here we have aluminum alloy. Just click on it. Now the materials get added. To make sure that whether it is added or not, just exit from the engineering data source and check for the aluminum. So when I try to click on it, see, it doesn't show the structural related properties. See, it only shows you the a thermal related property, that is isotropic thermal conductivity. Other than that, it doesn't shows anything. Okay, so even though if I try to choose the structural steel, it only shows me the isotropic thermal conductivity. Okay, because since we only working on the thermal analysis, right? It only has the properties of thermal related stuff. It doesn't have any properties related to the structural problems. Okay, just be clear with that point. And close here, don't close over there. And now we just add the material. So our next step is we need to import the geometry that we previously downloaded one. Just go to the geometry and go to the files option and import external geometry. Import external geometry. And here I'll go with the downloads. Now we have a heatsink over here and click on open. So all we need to do here is just click on generate. Now the component will be get generated. Okay. So even if you want to do any geometrical modification like a defeaturing, you can do that stuff. But right now I don't want to do any geometrical modification. I'll use as it is. I'll just close the design modular and double tap on the model. So now the model is get imported. So all we need to do here is first check the properties like always. I want to change the material from the structural steel to aluminum alloy. Once it is get changed, go to the properties and make sure the volume and then masses, everything is correctly assigned. Once it is done, our next part is to create a proper mesh. Just click on mesh and right click and say generate mesh. So usually it takes some time. Okay. So now we have a good mesh, not at all a good mesh. Maybe you can even try to reduce the element sizing. Maybe I'll give a 10 mm of, okay, 10 mm is too higher. Maybe I'll use a 2 mm and right click and say generate mesh. Probably you may not get what we say a tetra meshes. Probably we can get a hex mesh when you try to reduce the element sizing, because it's in a regular way, not in a too complicated with that. Although it's a sweep also. So once you try to create a mesh, you can sweep the mesh along this path. That is also possible. It's a sweepable geometry. But for that, we have to wait for some time. Okay. Yep. So like I said before, if you try to reduce the element sizing, probably you'll get a, what we say, it's like hex mesh. So hex mesh is always give you a better results. So there is no doubt in that point. So I need to apply the temperature at the bottom. So it's very simple. Just click on the steady state thermal and right click and say insert. So here one interesting factor is available. Like you can give the temperature as an input and you can also request for the temperature as an output. So this temperature is different and that temperature is different. So the output temperature, you are looking for the overall temperature distribution. Okay. But the input temperature is a temperature load. Okay. So if you want to give a temperature load, just go with the insert and click on temperature and choose the phase, desired phase. Uh, okay, either if you want to choose this phase also, that is also possible. So I'll choose the 3 phases and click on apply. And then it asks you for the magnitude. So since it's not changes with respect to the time. Maybe I'll give the factor of in that problem statement. They said that we have to apply a temperature load of 230 degrees Celsius. Okay, 230 degrees Celsius. And what will be the initial temperature of the component? How can I define that stuff? Go to the initial temperature. So this is the initial temperature of the component at the starting of the analysis. So at the initial stage, it's not 22 degree. Maybe I'll say it's 30 degrees Celsius. So how can I define the ambient temperature? That is room temperature, the surrounding temperature. Still now we don't yet apply for convection factor. So if you want to, assign the convection factor like I want to assume the surrounding have some sort of air or water something here. So this scenario is only included when when you add convection factor. It asks you for a film coefficient. So based upon the film coefficient, you can choose, okay, this is a liquid or this is a water or oil, whatever it is. Based upon the stuff you can define. So the convection is actually not happened on the temperature load phases. Other than that, all the phases, the convection can be happen. So how can I include that stuff? It's very simple. Just right click insert. There is an option called convection here. So we have so many options over here, but it's not possible to see all the options in this 1 hour session. I'll choose convection and it asks you for the geometry. I'll say right click and say select all. Now all the faces get selected, but right now I don't need this thing because I applied a temperature along these faces. Okay. Now I just unselect it and click on apply. That's good. So we have like this. And it asks you for the flame coefficient. I already set it to you, right? Since the surrounding is filled with air, it's like an ambient stagnant air. So instead of directly giving the flame coefficient, I'm going to use standard data, like a library data. Just click over here. Just wait for some time. It will shows. I'll choose a import temperature dependent data. I'm going to choose a simplified stagnant air. A stagnant air means the air is filled around the surfaces. So since we have so many subdivisions like horizontal, vertical planes 1 and 2. So ideally all of them are same. So a little bit changes in the flame coefficient. So most of the cases, so the stagnant air simplified case will works perfectly. Just try to choose that too. So unless if you don't have air, you are having water, you can go with the stagnant water. That is also possible. So it's just a surrounding material. So how the heat is transferred to the surrounding. So other than that, sir, how can I define if I am having oil? Suppose if you are performing piston or engine block analysis. So in the engine block, we have the coolant, right? Coolant oil. So how can I include that property? You have to search for that flame coefficient factor in Google and just copy that factor here. So probably if you have a higher amount of flame coefficient, the more number of heat is dissipated. As simple as that. What is that ambient temperature? So the ambient temperature is nothing but the surrounding temperature, the temperature of the air. So the temperature of the air is 28 degrees Celsius, but the initial temperature of the component is 30 degree. So at the starting of the analysis, so the bottom phase experiences at 230 degrees Celsius. Okay. So what I'm looking for, I'm looking for the temperature, overall temperature distribution, and as well as heat flux, total heat flux. So heat flux means in which point the maximum amount of heat is get transferred. That is what heat transfer means, heat flux means. So Q by A. So heat transfer per unit area. So just go try to Google for it and you'll get a formula for the heat flux also. And all you need to do here is just click on solve. Okay, now the result is get solved. So to view the result, just click on the temperature. Now I get the maximum temperature distribution. Okay. So I just applied so obviously we know that the maximum temperature is always be at 230 degrees Celsius. So I have the minimum temperature around the fins over here at the top. I have a temperature of 215.17, that is 215 degrees Celsius we have. Okay, so if you want the animation, just click on play. Now it shows the temperature distribution all around the surfaces. So ideally it is very simple. All you need to do here is just try to import the component and apply some sort of forces. I mean, that is temperature loads, and add some convection factor. The heat is dissipated from the outer side. Okay, suppose I want to view where the heat is actually get transferred. Just click on heat transfer. See, here in this location I have a maximum amount of heat transfer. It is very simple because here the area is very minimum. We have a curved surfaces, right? So the area is very minimum in this point. So where there is a minimum number of area, there will be a higher amount of heat transfer. So that is the reason the fins is always designed like this, like a straps. So it has a very minimum area. So however, how I mean, how small the area, the higher amount of heat is transferred in that region. Okay, based upon the heat transfer, the fins area will be decided. Because the reason is very simple. The heat flux we define in the factor of Q by A. So the heat flux is indirectly proportional to A. So if you try to reduce it, the heat flux will be increased. If the area is increased, the heat flux will be reduced. As simple as that. So the Q by A is the formula. So that is why it has a maximum number of heat flux nearby the minimum area region. As simple as that. Okay, so this case is called what we say, a steady state analysis. So suppose what should I do? So if I want to do a transient structural analysis, so instead of the temperature is distributed in a regular way, like a linear way, it cannot varies with respect to the time. Suppose if I try to split this component at the bottom into a three phases. Okay, so now I have a phase number 1, phase number 2, and phase number 3. So my analysis is carried out in a 3 seconds. So at the first second, the temperature of 230 will be on this phase. At second, the temperature will be on the third phase. At third second, the temperature will be on the second phase. How can I simulate this kind of scenarios? The temperature is changes with respect to the time. So because since our analysis is take place in 3 seconds. So in such situation, you can move on to the transient structural analysis, thermal analysis. So I'll just close it. So this time I'm not going to change the geometrical configuration. I'll just transfer the data. Okay, maybe we can do it as a separate one also, not an issue. Okay, it's not transient structural. Just go with transient thermal. Okay, I'll add the material, that is aluminum, and close the engineering data and double tap on the design modular. File, import external CAD geometry. I'll choose this file and click on open. So right now it's a single phase. So in our cases, I want to split it. So I'll just choose this phase and go with sketching and say look at. I'll just randomly use this thing. I don't want to give any proper. Okay, maybe we can give, but okay, I'll use a tentative one. I don't want to give any. Okay, so I'll just randomly try to pick up this point. Okay, so using this line, I'm gonna split this phases. Go to tools and say phase split and try to pick up this phase and click on apply. In edges, try to pick up the edge selector. Okay, I'll pick this one as well as this one and click on apply and click on generate. Now I have a phase number 1, 2, and 3. Okay, So just close this thing and go with model. So the same scenario, but the temperature load will be changes with respect to the time. That's the only difference. Other than that, the results and everything will be the same step. Okay. So the first thing first, always try to create the mesh. So in the previous case, we already checked the properties and everything. Once the mesh is done, just go to and change the material itself. Okay. So now we have created a mesh, and just click on this component. Uh, Go to the bottom and change the structural steel to aluminum alloy. So now the data will be different. So I'll go with the analysis setting. So hope you all know about the settings. We already discussed about what is step number one and current step and step ending time like this. So the step ending time is the analysis ending duration. It's our analysis gonna end in 3 seconds. I'll say it's 3 seconds. See, for those who have doubts in this time dependent load definition, so just try to watch the previous thing. Like we already discussed the stuffs in the transient structural analysis more clearly. Okay. So this analysis setting. So I just set the step ending time will be 3 seconds. Right now the auto time stepping is turned on. I don't want the auto time stepping. I just turn off it, and I'll make the time steps as 1 second. Okay, maybe for every 0.5 second I need the output. I'll just say 0.5 seconds. And the next part is a very important. That is the definition of temperature load. Right click, insert temperature. So for we have a three phases. For each and every phases, the temperature will be different. So here I'll just apply a this phase, and I'm going to use a tabular data. So this entire analysis happened for a 3 seconds. At the 0th second, here the 0th and 1st second, here we have the load. So I'll say 1 and 2. Okay. So we are having a 230 degrees Celsius at 1st seconds, 0th and 1st seconds. Okay. So other than that, the second the load will be here. So I need another temperature data and pick up this phase and click on apply. The same thing, tabular data. I'll say it's 1 and 2. For the first 2 seconds, the load will be here. At the second, the load will be here. So that is 230. And the third second, the load will be here. So for that, I need another one. Go with temperature and try to pick up the space and click on apply. So I'll say it's tabular data. And we know that first second and second, there won't be any load in the space. I'm only talking about the space. So at the third second, I have a load of 230 degrees Celsius. Okay. Now we have a time dependent load 1 and 2 and 3. So want to view how the temperature is distributed, just click on the analysis setting. Maybe you'll have a better idea regarding this thing, how the heat is actually changed over the time. Okay, we have a 3 phases and 3 different sets of temperature also. And the most importantly, you need to apply the convection factor. Otherwise the heat won't be convected to the surrounding air. Right click, insert convection, right click and say click on select all. Just unpick the bottom phases itself, 1, 2 and 3. In the previous state also, in the previous cases, we also pick this phases also, but this time I'm gonna apply the convection factor for this phases also, because I'm not assigning any temperature to this phases. So that is why just click on apply. And always I'm going to use a temperature dependent data, that is stagnant air. Click on OK. Once it is defined, it's very easy. Just right click and say insert request for the temperature distribution. Right click, insert total heat fluxes. Just click on solve. Now we just assign a time dependent load since our output is also be a time dependent load. Okay, now the result is get solved. So when I looking for the temperature, so I have a maximum temperature over here because since the surrounding, like when I try to animate it, we'll get the animation how the heat is actually get transferred. See, can you observe? So for a better view, maybe I'll change the style to no wireframe. See, it will be much easier to understand. The heat is dissipated like this. So for a time dependent load, you can also request for like for every point second, 0.5 second, I am asking for the results. So now I get a minimum and maximum and average temperature value for every 0.5 second. So go with the heat flex also. Just try to animate it. So in this region, I have a maximum, what we say. So at this age, I have a maximum heat transfer. So similarly, I have some heat transfer in this region also at the top. So suppose you want to view the temperature on a particular region, you can use the prop tool. Using this prop tool, you can identify uh, the different sets of temperature all around the region. Okay, this is what it means. Yep. Yep. So that is what we plan to see today. A simple, a transient thermal analysis as well as a steady state thermal analysis. Okay. So hope you all understand this basic concept regarding the transient and steady state thermal analysis. Okay. So if you have any queries, you can always ask, or else you can leave the webinar. So we'll meet on our tomorrow's session.